Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Which actor crushed a role so hard that nobody else will be able to live up to it? When they inevitably recast Jack Sparrow, it'll be clear just how big a gap there is. I remember first seeing the trailer for Black Pearl in theaters. I thought nobody had ever looked as perfect for their role as Johnny looked for Jack Sparrow. The actual performance turned out to be even better than I expected. All these years later, I am still convinced that Jack Sparrow is a real person who spends his time these days playing a character called Johnny Depp. As much as Johnny Depp became a parody of himself and that role in later movies, Willy Wonka, Sweeney Todd, Tato, Mad Hatter, The Wolf in Into the Woods, that role in Curse of the Black Pearl specifically will go down in history as one of the best of all time. J.K. Simmons as John Jonah Jameson. Edit, from James to John. He's so good, he's played the role in 3 separate universes. Doesn't he do the voice acting for all of them too? Rowan Atkinson as Mr. Bean. I would hope no one else would try to pull off Mr. Bean since he made up the character. His original description of the character was painfully British. Ian McKell is the one true Gandalf both true Gandalfs. To be honest, all the core cast of LOTR are amazing. Like every single part is cast and played so well. Christopher Lloyd as Doc in Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly in Back to the Future is another one as well. They literally shot half of the movie with a different actor, Eric Stoltz, and it just wasn't working. They had to start shooting the movie over from the very beginning. It was a bet that definitely paid off, though. It's the role he was born to play. Ronald Ermey as Gunnery Sergeant Hartman in Full Metal Jacket. You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece. Only steers and queers come from Texas and you don't look much like a steer to me, so that kinda narrows it down. Do I make you nervous? Sir? Sir what? Were you about to call me an asshole? I want to add Vincent D'Onofrio to this list, but I don't know that he crushes roles. It's more like he disappears into them. His performance as the bug-controlling Edgar in Men in Black really is impressive. Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator. Weird to think that role almost went to O.J. Simpson. He only allegedly terminated people. Christoph Waltz as Hans Leder in Inglourious Basterds. That's a bingo. His acting in the opening scene is phenomenal. To this day I still get chills when I watch it. Fuck, now I have to go watch it. Absolutely incredible how Waltz could change his entire demeanor with just the most subtle of facial movements. Bryan Cranston as Walter White in Breaking Bad. He begins as sympathetic and ends up terrifying. And in general the whole cast of Malcolm in the Middle, even the very secondary role. There have been many middle-class effed up famous sitcom but zero have achieved to be crazy and relatable like this show. How is this not #1? Dude literally got a letter from Sir Anthony Hopkins saying it was the best acting he's ever seen. I think some of the best acting in that series is when they have to lie poorly to each other or to other people. I think good actors are always reliable at playing the big scenes and the quiet scenes and the cool scenes, and you have lots of material to convince the audience with, but the ones where you have to look foolish, or when the audience already knows you're lying but you still have to do it well but not too well, because you're playing a character that isn't an experienced liar, are where great actors shine. And I think Anna Gunn was underappreciated in her role, too. Thankless job, but she killed it. Joaquin Phoenix as Commodus in Gladiator. I have never hated a character so much till I saw him in that movie. He is so cowardly, despicable, and creepy. Phoenix did such a good job in making you loathe his character. As a kid I literally thought I hated Phoenix as an actor whenever I'd see Gladiator. Now I realize I love his acting and just hate Commodus so much. Same. He absolutely killed that role. He did such an amazing job of making me hate the character that it took a while for me to disassociate him from the role. Jack Gleason used him as the main inspiration for Joffrey Baratheon in GOT. Jack Gleason played Joffrey incredibly well. It is hard to be so perfectly hateable, especially since Gleason has a reputation of not being like that at all in real life. Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice. Well. I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague and had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention you're taking to a dead guy, so what do you think? You think I'm qualified? Sir Patrick Stewart as Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And Brent Spiner as Data. Some of the finest acting in all of television history is performed between the two of them. The episode where the scientist wants to take Data and disassemble him so they have a trial is one of my favorite episodes of TV ever. John Malkovich in Being John Malkovich. Most literal interpretation of the Thread Premise Award. Honestly, it's a bananas concept to play yourself in. How do you wrap your head around it? He's not an outright caricature, but it's definitely a somewhat fictionalized version of himself. But it wouldn't be the same with anyone but him. Such an odd movie. My favorite bit of trivia from that film is that Spike Jonze used to stop takes and direct Malkovich by saying, "I don't think John Malkovich would react like that." James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. Woke up this morning, got some gabagool. Here's hoping his son can do the role justice. Based on the trailer, I don't think he has the makings of a varsity athlete. Sigourney Weaver as Ellen Ripley. The best part of Alien and Aliens. The hero is a woman and no one cares. Anyone, man or woman, would follow Ripley to the ends of the earth. Ron Swanson. There is no Nick Offerman, there is only Ron Swanson, and Duke Silver. This is a funny comment considering how little Ron and Nick's personality overlap. Nick even sings a song where he says one of the only things he and Ron have in common is that they are both attracted to women who look like Megan Mullally. Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. Alan Rickman as anyone. Yeah. They literally cancelled Galaxy Quest 2 when he died. Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. He's so deeply connected to that character that I feel it would be impossible for anyone else to fill the fedora. I wonder if River Phoenix could have stepped up it if he hadn't died. He nailed his role as young Indiana in The Last Crusade. Danny DeVito's Frank Reynolds is the best piece of casting this century. Glenn Howerton is honestly one of the greatest and most artfully enigmatic portrayals of a legitimate psychopath / potential serial killer as Dennis, IMO. I think that his role in that show will be looked back upon for decades as a standard to aspire to. Personally, his forced, "let's move the fuck on from whatever is in the way of my current desire because I truly would be happier if you didn't exist" laugh is absolutely iconic. His mannerisms and cadence capture the idea that he is literally seconds away from murdering people so well, while also attempting to imitate normal human interaction as best he can. Lol. There's no other fictional character I'm aware of that has made me debate if they are truly insane or not as much or as often as Dennis Reynolds, and that's something. His realizatio is the best. This is exactly what I'm talking about. We immediately escalate everything to a 10. It's ridiculous. I mean, somebody comes in with some preposterous plan or idea. And then all of a sudden, everybody's on the gas. Nobody's on the brakes. Nobody's thinking. Everybody's just talking over each other with one idiotic idea after another. Until, finally, we find ourselves in a situation where we've broken into somebody's house. And the homeowner is home. Robin Williams as the genie. Fun fact, according to his biography, that role was written specifically for him. I watched a YouTube video about this. The role was written for him, but Williams made it clear that his likeness / voice was not to be used for marketing. Disney straight up broke this agreement, and Williams left the franchise. The edit, first, direct-to-video sequel of Aladdin suffered greatly, needless to say. It's a interesting watch if you're at all interested. Edits, yes, Williams did come back after the first DTV sequel. I just meant to briefly summarize the above video, which does a much better job than I could. Christina Ricci as Wednesday Addams. The entire Addams family was impeccable cast. Gomez, Morticia, Wednesday, Fester, and a special shout out to Joan Cusack as Debbie. Probably up there as my favorite ensemble cast of all time. What makes that movie great is that every actor absolutely swung for the fences in their roles and nailed it. To have so many over-the-top performances of absolutely batshit crazy characters all land so perfectly is something special. I'd also expand on that to say that Angelica Huston was perfectly cast as Morticia. She was perfect in that part. As was Raul Julia. Yeah, no disrespect to John Astai, but Raul Julia was just something extra as Gomez. Jodie Foster as Clarice Starling. I particularly love the scene where she looks at Buffalo Bill's victim and you hear her voice crack during the first part of the description, where she is looking at tiny personal details like painted fingernails, but then go clinical and determined when she sees the wounds on the girl's back. Playing badass women often veers either towards emotionless and stalwart, or basically aping a 80s action male role. Foster nailed the emotional vulnerability, ambition, and courage of that character in minute, but profound ways. No one compares. Since you mentioned Silence of the Lambs, how about Ted Levine as Buffalo Bill? His voice was perfect for that part. And it goes without saying that Anthony Hopkins nailed Drive. Hannibal Lecter. There's a reason he won Best Actor despite only being on screen for, 16-ish minutes.